Hello everybody and welcome to the very first space devlog. I'm very excited today to show you some of the cool things we've been working on here at Universe Games and hopefully explain some mechanics that you might have seen in our sneak peeks channel. If you haven't seen our sneak peeks yet, you can join the Discord by clicking the link down below in the description. We have a very open and welcoming community and we post regular updates about the game as well as some funny memes. Now the first thing I want to talk about today is movement. Since space is a movement shooter, movement is, of course, our #1 priority. Movement in space is very different from traditional FPS movement. Traditionally, in FPS games, you're only allowed to look 90 degrees up and 90 degrees down, as well as on the y-axis however you'd like. In space, however, we use a completely different movement system. Because the game is based in space, you're allowed to move in any direction you want. This allows for some very cool opportunities and some unique ways to approach an objective or to kill another player. Since Roblox does not allow for any of this kind of movement, we've had to completely create our own movement system from scratch. This has been quite an obstacle, but I'm very dedicated to working on this and making it as perfect as possible. I also just don't like the Roblox movement system. It is pretty crappy and is still from like 2012. While yes, Roblox is working on a whole new movement system, it is still not what we need. We need something that is completely physics-based and completely custom, so we can move around in any direction that we want. Now, since we cannot use Roblox's character system or movement system, we've also had to make our own camera system, which includes 2 camera modes. One is the first-person camera, which you will be playing in mostly, and the other one is the vehicle camera, which is set to a specific part inside of a vehicle so that it does not move when your character moves. First mechanic I want to talk about today that is related to movement is the gravity boots. The gravity boots are boots that allow you to simulate gravity. Basically, any surface you stand on will turn into your floor. So if you touch the ceiling, that is what you'll be standing on from now on, or if you touch some kind of part somewhere, that is what you'll be standing on from now on. The gravity boots are also activated by gravity wells. So for example, if you're standing inside a ship or similar, and there's a gravity well there, you will be forced to align with that gravity. Now you're also able to do some cool things while you're underground. You're able to run, walk, and most importantly, you're able to slide, which basically turns the floor into ice and allows you to slide across any surface you want. While sliding, your speed doesn't decrease a lot, meaning you can outplay your opponents by, for example, sliding past them and shooting them. This makes you very hard to hit and very fast. Now, every shooter game should obviously have guns, and we have quite a few of them. To make guns feel smooth in space, I've used a mix of springs and inverse kinematics. For recoil, we have 2 separate springs, one for your camera and one for the gun itself. Now, moving on to shooting. Traditionally, guns will shoot at the center of your screen, also known as your crosshair. Where your crosshair is located is where the bullet will go. In space, however, the guns will shoot out of the barrel, and the barrel will try to align with the center of your screen. So when you're moving, your barrel will obviously misalign, causing you to shoot somewhere else than where you think you're actually aiming. This is obviously reduced because it is a movement shooter, but if you're standing up against a wall or if you're moving very erratically, your gun will sway and you will not be shooting exactly where you're looking. The cool thing about this system is that when you bring your gun close to a wall, it will actually start aiming up as if to signal that, hey, you're close to the wall and I can't actually be here. Now moving on to my favorite subject, explosions. Explosions in space are fairly simple. They use a damage radius, and depending on how far a vehicle or a player is in that radius, damage is applied. Other than damage, we also apply a force from the explosion to whatever part the explosion touches. This allows for some pretty cool things, especially with movement. You can, for example, rocket jump, or give yourself a rocket boost by shooting behind you. The sounds of the explosions are also distance-based. So when an explosion happens far away from you, the sound will be delayed, as if it exploded in real life. Now let's move on to our next topic, which is vehicles. We're planning on including a large selection of vehicles in-game. Each vehicle can be equipped with different loadouts from the loadout menu and made to whatever purpose that player has in mind for that vehicle. Each vehicle includes a HUD that allows you to select what weapon you want to shoot with, as well as a damage indicator and a little vehicle indicator. The vehicle indicator allows you to see where you're moving towards and where you're being shot from. It's also just a cool little guy. Now let's move on to our final topic today, which is the questions that you guys asked in our Discord channel. Now the first question that I'm going to answer today is whether functioning VR support is planned. Now currently there's no plans for VR support, mostly due to the movement system, which would make you completely sick and probably fall over. Unfortunately, there's also not enough buttons on VR controllers, so you would not be able to do everything that PC players could. The next question is if there will be Xbox support, and that is kind of similar to VR support, whereas Xbox controllers also do not have enough buttons. It's likely that the support will only remain to PC, as we have a whole keyboard to work with. And similarly, mobile does not have enough buttons either. Another concern for other platforms is the performance. Since Spaced is such a large game and requires a lot of processing power, it is unlikely that it will perform any good on those platforms. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to receive any further updates, you can subscribe or join our Discord channel in the description. And if you want to join our Void Testers group, which is a tester group that can play the game before it's in beta or even available to the public, join our Discord where we have a Google form where you can apply to become one of those testers and help out the game.